Good day, amazing humans. Welcome to another episode of WoW, Wheel of Wisdom with Allison and Emmy. We are here on another incredible day. Just here she comes, Miss Allison, and we will get her on the. Oh, there we go. There we go. View the request. Are you ready for her, people? Are you ready for her? Oh, why isn't it working? It says I have no request. There she is. It is working. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well. I had this amazing mentoring session with this girl you might know. Her name is Allison. She freaking
Really?
rocks.
Wow.
Mhm.
Tell me about her.
Oh, I'd love to. You would really like her. And I think a lot of people watching would too. Yeah. For those of you who weren't on last week and didn't hear the I don't know if it was a big reveal or if I have said it before, but Allison and I, have known each other for some time and have been working as colleagues on this. And then she gave me this incredible opportunity to be one of her mentees in her Accelerate Your Mojo program. And let me tell you, it is such an incredible program. And she is such an incredible mentor that if you are looking for any guidance, any working through your intuition, your authenticity, and moving through fear, reach out to her right now. Don't even delay. Just go straight to the message, then you can come back to the live because she fucking rocks. I'm just gonna say. And now with that F bomb, she probably won't want to use this
Of
testimonial, but
course
maybe
I
she'll just
do.
edit that out.
Of course I do. Of course. Fuck yeah.
See, there we are being our authentic selves, people.
It's my authentic
So,
self. Sometimes people swear. Oh, wow.
this is who we are. This is who we are. Oh my gosh. Well, it is a joy to be here again with you. I was just meeting with Allison like an hour ago for our session. And hello, D. Jordan. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Like by their real
But
name?
welcome, new person.
Welcome. If you care to
Tell us your real
put your
name
name
if you
in,
want
and
us. Yeah.
we'll attract you as such. But otherwise, welcome. And we're glad to have you here. Shall we go straight into checking what the wheel wants us to talk about today, Allison? All right, here we
Yes,
go. So
please.
this is why it's called Wheel of Wisdom, because we spin the wheel. We talk about any of these six topics: self-love, authenticity, joy, moving through fear, intuition, or gratitude, because those are the six things that Allison and I specialize in, 3 and 3. Although I feel like they very much overlap. We could all
Yeah.
talk about, and we do talk about all those things all the time. So
Mhm.
I'm going to hook us up here now. Just give me a second. And not hook us up, but put myself on a stand so I don't have to hold the thing the whole time. Oh, Lord have mercy. My sister. There we go. There we go. Oof. And I'm going to take off my sweater because I am hot. I can't believe I am so grateful that it is October 11th and I was just outside and it's so warm out that I actually had to change into a short sleeve shirt. Like I can't even believe I
Yeah.
had a long sleeve and a sweater because normally at this time of year after Thanksgiving, we
Mhm.
just had our Thanksgiving yesterday, Canadian Thanksgiving. This is what we need long sleeves and sweaters. So I
Yeah.
by pattern did that and I'm like, it's so gorgeous outside. So I'm very grateful for that. But anyways,
Nice. Do you wanna kick us off with self-love?
self-love, yes, indeed. So really for me, self-love, I talk a lot about self-care because I do think it's super, super important and a very big part of self-love that people push to the side and diminish, like it's not important and they'll get to it when they get to it.
Mhm.
But self-love is more than that. And to me, at the essence, self-love is checking in with yourself on a daily basis, sometimes 10 times a day, like it just whenever you need it, like first of all, creating a habit. Like I used to set it in my calendar. So I made sure I checked in with myself. And then now that it's a habit, I just check in with myself whenever I need it. And just saying, like, how are you doing? What do you need in this moment? And whenever possible, giving that to yourself in that moment. Like there are times when, like, sorry, no, I have a meeting coming up. I can't do it right now, but
Mhm.
then I can shelve it and say, okay, thank you. I hear you, self, and I will get to that at whatever time. And just making yourself that priority, making yourself the most important person in your life. Because as Allison and I were talking about, that's not selfish
No, it's
because
necessity.
it's necessary. Like when we do that and we fill ourselves up and give ourselves what we truly need, then we feel full of love and it just naturally overflows and you can't help
Hmm.
but be more loving to more people because you're just radiating love all over the place. Instead of coming from this place of constriction, as Allison often talks about, where
Hmm.
you're like, oh, I feel like crap, I feel like crap, I feel like crap. Well, what can you give to the world when you feel like crap? Only like a fraction of the amazing person you actually are. So
Hmm.
that to me
Exactly.
is like self-love prescription in a nutshell. So
Yeah.
Allison?
I mean, yeah, 1,000% agree with you. And it's interesting. I mean, how we define, because our own belief systems get woven up in and how we, act on the concept of how we perceive self-love. But in the phase that I'm in right now, I mean, it just came off a big summit and, a bunch of big projects. And my version of self-love at the moment is honoring the quiet, knowing that the quiet and what would, if someone looking on me would say, she's not doing anything. Why isn't she doing something? Like, she's not doing stuff. She's unproductive. It's like the most, the greatest, form of self love is I can give myself is just honoring um, that this is the most productive time. Just being, I'm not on social media a lot. I'm actually going to go paint my living room this week. And knowing that my not being visible isn't detrimental to myself. I'm not harming myself. I'm not harming my, coaching practice. I'm not harming, how are people going to find, they'll find me. They'll find me if they want to find me.
Mm-hmm.
But, I just need to go. And plus with having my middle child go off to college, it's just, that was a big, massive change for me. And my just version of self-love is just really being almost as still as I can possibly be on any given day. I'm barely editing my book because I'm like, that would be a should action, is doing more editing. I'm like, I need to go paint. I need to go paint my dining room. That's what I need to do because it's my form of, to me, it's cathartic. To me, change in terms of my physical environment is very inspiring. So I'm lucky enough to have a family that agrees with, painting the walls a different color or, adding a new piece of furniture or moving stuff around, that they are willing to go along on this ride with me. But that's how that this quiet is sort of processing um, where I am in my life in the world and knowing that I'm not behind. I'm not lost. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just here. And in this moment, I'm a little more maybe constricted. I don't know. Just quiet. Just like I'm really interested in getting in touch with a greater aspect of my non-physical consciousness. This is what I'm doing right now. That's my form of self-love. So, I mean, it looks different for every single person, every single moment. And that's the cool part. Is just honoring what's going to bring you right side up, what's going to fill you up.
Exactly. There are two things that you said that I really want to touch on there. One is that I went to see Marianne Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for those of you who don't know her, she's a very famous author of multiple books and a speaker. And she really is about like love and peace in the world. Like, she's doing a lot of good work to feed the
Mm-hmm.
hungry, to like just change the world. And I forget who she said it was, some like ancient philosopher. It wasn't, it's not a new idea. So, but whoever it was, that said the biggest problem in the world is that people cannot be still with themselves. And this
Mm-hmm.
is why we can't solve the problems of the world, because many people have a really hard time being still with themselves. And I'm one of those people too. I'm getting better and better and better, which I'm super happy I'm, on the journey. But
Yeah.
it was not long ago that meditation was a very foreign thing to me, or very challenging thing for me. It wasn't foreign. I'd heard about it a lot, but I was like, it was hard for me. And being still like was very hard for me. And then funny enough, as I tried to meditate through guided meditation, that was what wasn't working. And that sitting in stillness was the only thing that got me into meditation properly. So that was interesting for me because I'm a, monkey mind. They talk about the monkey mind. I am the queen of monkey mind for sure. And so that was interesting. And then the other thing that you said, oh dear, it'll come back to me if it's meant
And
to.
then it's not relevant. That's the cool part, is like, if it doesn't come, it's not relevant. It's not relevant to us to know or talk about it. If it comes back, then it is.
Yeah, exactly. But that was certainly a great point for sure. It was just like, yes,
Welcome
stillness.
to everybody joining us. If you guys have any questions, comments, expressions of self-love that help you in some way. I mean, conversation is fantastic between human beings because oftentimes new ideas are stimulated from conversation, new perspectives. So feel free to add to the conversation if you guys want to add to the conversation.
You see, I needed that jog from Allison because when she said that, it reminded me of Genius, which is something that Giovanni Marsico taught me. He's a big dreamer, business mentor guy.
Mhm.
And genius is an actual word. You can look up in the dictionary. What I used to call the genius of the room, where when, people come together and they start to talk, everyone together is collectively far more intelligent than any one person because
Oh yeah.
it's not an additive thing. Like all of a sudden you get these new perspectives.
Yeah.
So this morning, we're on a call every day this week, every weekday for this month. And this morning he was talking about play. We have 5 goals for the day. And one of them is your play goal. And that's really hard for a lot of high achievers. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm not like play. Like what? I'm not gonna like
Waste time. Nobody
prioritize
wastes time playing.
play because it's the one thing I just keep pushing, these people will say. And he said, does anyone else like have a hard time? Someone said, he starts with like what makes your future self proud, what made your future self proud. And someone said they didn't work all weekend and they didn't allow themselves to feel guilty about it. And he's like, is there anybody else that feels guilty when they don't work? And of course, a bunch of people put their hands up and he said, I used to be like that too. He's like, but rest and whatever that means. Like for some people, rest is sleeping. For some people, rest is sitting in stillness. For some people, rest is just, going and dancing and getting away from work. Like it's whatever feels restful to you. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be stillness, but rest is what actually fuels us. If you want to be productive, if that you value
Yeah.
productivity, the rest itself actually is more useful to you being productive than
Yeah.
anything else you can do. If you go
Definitely.
into your work feeling rested and rejuvenated, you will be so much more productive and you will get more done in less time. And
Mm-hmm.
again, this is not something he made up. Like we've been learning about this for, from
Yeah.
many people for a lot of times, but it just reminded me of that. So what are the other components?
Rest.
Rest,
Yeah.
play, and well, I think for me, the other thing is like, so also Allison and I talked about today, I certainly have a very active belief that for anything to get done, you also need action. So just
Yeah.
like sitting on a mountaintop meditating is not going to get me,
Mm-hmm.
meditating all day is not going to get me. Now, that may be very untrue, but that is my active belief.
Mm-hmm.
Full disclosure, it's probably not actually true, but that's my active belief. But I have moved from like, it should be anything like the should actions, as Allison was saying, to inspired action. So I think
Right.
like we rest, we play, and then we take inspired action. So I am very against like in my calendar, I might have business explosion time, and that's fine. That feels good because I know I'm going to do something for my business from, let's say, 1 to 2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying that it has to be pitching to speaking and doing this and this exact thing, because
Mm-hmm.
then that becomes like a should action at this time every day. I should do this
Right.
versus, oh my gosh, I just had this great idea to that's going to move my business forward. And even like for me, having the flexibility to shift it, like, you know what? No, at 1 o'clock, I actually feel like I need to go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go for a walk and I'll do that at 2 or whatever. So keeping
Mm-hmm.
open spaces in my calendar so I can shift stuff and be flowing with what my intuition tells me to do. And
Yeah.
that's what I want, inspired action.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me, like, as we extend from the conversation of self-love into this concept of play and rest and even inspired action, it's like, until I shifted how I perceived these different components. I did a lot of should action. I did so much fucking action, it would have made your head explode. I didn't get any farther along on the things that I really, really wanted. It was futile because it was done in an energy of force and constriction. Play, I used to teach kindergarten, right? We teach the little people. It's like from an organic aspect of creation. If you leave the kids alone, they'll show you formulaically how to be the most self-love based, with the most creativity and inspired action, productivity through the roof. If you stop trying to harness them into the ways that you think it should be done, they will automatically create and be productive way beyond. And that's the benefit of play. And I think a lot of times in people's heads, they equate play with fruitlessness. Like if I
Hmm.
play, I've wasted. If I play, I haven't been productive, because we've been, as a collective consciousness, hammered on this idea that if you don't move, and so we've moved into so much should actions that we've forgotten there's a difference between acting in a form of
Oh my
constriction
gosh.